Okay, so let's try and install the latest OPSB ITOM platform without OBM. Now we're going to do some prerequisites, of course, some preparations, and we already have the vertical database, and we'll go with the NFS server. We have a dedicated NFS server, and then the packages and everything else. So I'm going to put it into another tab, and let's begin with the NFS server. So NFS server is pretty simple. We need to do a yum install RPC bind. I think we already got it. Let's see if we get it. And then we need to install the yum NFS utils. Let's have a look-see. This is our vertical. So here we go. It installs, it goes, and in the meanwhile, oh, nothing to do. Now we'll do NFS utils, same exact thing. Okay, we'll enable the RPC bind and start the NFS server. We will run umask 022. Okay, and we'll just create all of the folders, although the ones for OMI and OMI 0 and OMI 1 are not going to be used, but why deviate from the procedure? When we go and we do this, okay, and now we'll change the tone. This is also done. Okay, now we're going to do this, and I hope they're not all wacky. And also I need to compare those folders to see, yep, DB node, volume 2. Okay, Control X, Y. Now, this command is not right. This command needs to be like this. Okay, and that looks a little bit better. Let's see how it goes. Warvos, ITOM. Yes, everything is correct, and we are basically need to just run the export fs, and we are done. So now I'm going to power off the server, and I'm going to save it in its current state, just not to repeat this procedure any longer. And now it's time to run the prerequisite packages. Now we have this prepared for us, and let's hope everything is cool over here, and we'll run it on a worker too, I believe, although worker has its own set of instructions. But let's see, master, yes, it's installing now. They have also recommended list of prerequisite packages that kind of expands the default. So we're going to do it as well. And we're going to do the same on the worker node. We're going to install all of the recommended packages. Okay, and in the meanwhile, I'll just run the prepared command for the other packages. Well, they do repeat themselves, but a couple of them are different. So we're gonna deal with them. Okay, yes, there are a couple of those. Edit, okay, master and worker. Okay, now there's a masquerade setting in firewall, and let's see, system ctl status firewall. Yep, and firewall should be disabled both on worker and master, and I believe on NFS and Vertica as well. Let's see, yes, it's disabled, and firewall is disabled. So firewall is not going to be an issue in this environment. Okay, check the folder space requirements. Now we're not going to do that. Okay, now we are going to check uh, the redirection. Yes, we do have it, and we'll go to nano TC hosts. We need to uncomment the IPv6 both on master and worker. Nope, nope, that's not what we do. We do nano etc hosts, and we uncomment. Yes, exit. Fantastic. Okay, IP route grep default, another verification that we need to do. I believe we're kind of okay. Yep, that's exactly what it needs to say. So now open required ports not required, configure sudo access not required, set up thin pools. Now this is kind of a thing that contributes to your stability, but I don't want to add another hard drive to my master. Basically NFS would handle this, and yeah, I just don't want to do this. Now SDB1, SDB1, yes. So we're not going to create another hard drive even for Docker itself. Set up system parameters. So let's see if the DB netlify exists. Nope. So we will enable it. Okay, and we're going to do this also on master and worker. And we're going to add it to the defaults. Okay, now we will do nano on both on master and worker, and we're going to add the parameters for IP forwarding, and yep, we're going to edit here, and we're going to edit here. Basically, go IP tables and everything like this is done. Workers save our work. Basically, I'm jumping between two servers over here, but only for places where the prerequisites are the same. So right now we're preparing them both. We don't see any errors, and that is done. Now disable swap space. We don't have any swap. Okay, so we go df -h, and we don't have any swap over here. So we are just going to skip. Okay. Another thing is check MAC and Cipher algorithms. I know that this is set properly because I'm using a out-of-the-box CentOS image, installed it myself with all of the defaults. And since it's all on defaults, those problems don't exist. I mean, basically the HMAC SHA2 and stuff like that are not really going. Now, SSHD config password authentication setting, it also works out of the box. I'm connected with SSH as right now. Hostname resolution. Now, we are using a DNS server. And basically when what is it worker? Yes, so when I ping my worker, everything is fine. And when I ping my master, I'm checking this because I have another environment, and in that environment, apparently there was a problem over there because DNS was a little bit confused, just a little bit too much confused. Okay, then we download the installation. Now we configure the install properties. So now we'll go to cd ITOM, and we need to configure the install properties. Now this is very important because in install properties, if you have more than one network device, and I have only one, so I'm not going to configure Flannel, but if you have more than one network device, you'll need to configure the Flannel settings so it wouldn't get confused about uh, which device to use, right? But there are also other options that we need to consider, and one of them is proxy for Docker. We can set it up here. It's just a little bit nicer to do it from this file rather than go and restart Docker services later. So it's going to be http://proxy eswdc.net 88, and then we are going to just copy this setting over here. Fantastic. So that's proxy. Now there is another problem. You see, there's the thin pull device and a funnel. We don't use that. But what we do need to do is the CIDR. Where is the CIDR? I think it's, yeah, pod CIDR. So the default port CIDR goes to 172.16, but it's a wrong one, because not a wrong one, but it's overlapping with my current system. So we need to change it. Now, if I change it to 17, there is apparently system CIDR that uses the 17. So we're going to say 18, because 18 doesn't exist. This is just from experience, but basically if you're using any system that uses 172.16, which is a pretty common thing, you need to change it here in order to avoid some problems in the future. So we'll save our work. Okay, and let's just verify the file, just real quick if I need to change anything else. For example, one of the parameters is to configure the fluentd so it would send its logs to Elastic and OBA, or leave it on defaults where it would be saving logs locally, and then you can analyze the logs later. So we're not going to change that. Okay, and export logs to the NFS server. It has its own dedicated procedure in the doc portal, but we're keeping it on the defaults. So we are it. I think, yes, we are pretty much ready. Now, what is missing is the cronny. The chronic configuration. So where is it? Let's see the documentation for it. All right. So the procedure for syncing time is missing from the prerequisites, but it still needs to be done, but that's kind of a given, right? So if we'll go and do date on all servers simultaneously, we'll see that, oh, we are missing the master. So let's run the command once more. So we see that master is like 2 hours ahead of everything else, and that's because its hardware is not synced to other servers. And that creates problems with everything related to Docker, and the installation would also scream, "Oh, your worker and master are not synchronized, so we need to handle this." And the way to handle it is to do a cronny desync. So we're gonna do just that, but we're going to use some internet articles to do so. So we'll go to master, we'll go to cd ITOM. We already modified the install properties. So we'll go to install -m. This is the metadata, NFS server. Going to be NFS nf-d.com. NFS folder, I believe. What it's missing? NFS folder, right? Yes. NFS folder. And this one is going to be So an NFS folder should be item vol claim. So it's going to be var vols item. Now let's ll var vols item. Okay. And it seems that I'm missing a folder. So we're going to create it too. History. Okay. And it's going to be make dir item vol claim. Then it's going to be change mode R item vol claim. And then going to be shown 199 on 199. Var vol item vol claim. There we go. That should be the one. Okay, and now we need to modify this to have the item vol claim. So we are just going to copy this line and we are going to say item vol claim. This item vol claim. Okay, Control X and R, and last thing is export FS. Done. Item vol claim. Let's go for it. Cannot mount. Right. Has a typo. Go for it. Yeah. Okay, let's see what kind of warnings we got. So we got a warning for a simple device. We can live with that. Firewall doesn't matter. And yeah. So now we install. We do our passwords. And then it installs. So let's skip directly to where the installation has ended. Now, before we do anything, here you go. It's its own setup. So let's do Docker pull and hello world. Nope, certificate problem. Okay, so basically it's not able to do it because reasons. No, actually those are good reasons. So the timesync doesn't work. And probably I'll go with the option of downloading the sweet images from a different server, which is completely fine with me. We're going to do that on one of the other servers that are not very convenient for me, but it's going to be okay. So let's go and create the download images package. And we will explore the option of downloading images remotely. So there we go. A little bit of a lag on RDP. So the version is this. We click on next. We agree and authorize. And we're not going to do Ops Bridge Manager, but we're going to do BVD, COSO, Collection Services, Digital Experience Monitoring. Fantastic. Okay, it's going to be out of the box PostgreSQL, small deployment. Okay, we're not going to use custom certificate. There is no need for it, not at this moment. And now we will add the worker node. So it's going to be worker mm-t.com, username root, and the password name is something. Now I want to see what kind of warnings I get, because based on those warnings I can determine if I'm actually able to do it or not, to able to use this as a worker or not. If it's able to use the worker, it's completely fine with me. It means that the time sync is not a big of an issue at the moment, but if it is a problem, then, well, it's going to be something else. Okay. Okay, so time system synchronization. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually reassign the worker to the same node as a master, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, I ended up with moving the master to the place where worker is. So let's synchronize our time once more. So there's a clock minus W minus R. Let's see, it's 10:30, and then we go clock minus R. 10:13. Okay. So they are pretty much out of sync at the moment. So I'm going to run a systemctl stop ntpd. And also I'm going to do the same thing with systemctl disable ntpd. All right, just so we wouldn't have any interference with it. And we're going to use a very nice VMware Toolbox time sync option. Basically, this is something that synchronizes the clock to the local clock one-to-one. So let's see, same command, hardware clock, date. Okay, we're still not fully synced. We have almost 1 second of difference. And let's see, hardware clock. What do we have? Help file? Yeah. See, show set. Okay. Okay, hardware clock minus W. Okay, and now let's see. Okay, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. Hardware clock minus R. How different are we? Probably not that much. Okay, hardware clock minus W. Okay. 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 So first thing first, let's run it once more to see if the time sync is now okay. Let's see if the pop-up would show us the result that we expect. And naturally the system clock reset itself and I was logged out. Okay. So something that we need to know. Okay, and now we are going to add. Okay, so it's going to be worker .com root password. Let's see, we should get a couple of warnings, but the time sync should not be an issue anymore. There's our verification. And simple device. Okay, okay. Okay, so we have only one warning. So we're gonna say ignore warning, we're gonna save. And that's going to be it for the worker. Now the file storage, yeah, that's a little bit of a different story. That's the next step. Okay. Okay, DB volume, it's going to be NFS, going to be DB single volume, right? No, it's going to be data. Validate, log volume NFS. Okay, let's, okay, conf NFS. That's, no, conf, comma, conf. There we go. Validate DB single volume, DB single volume, item logging, interface, item logging. Yes. Now DB backup, interface, DB backup volume. And that part is done. You cannot return, it's okay, we don't want to return. Next phase is the download. Now let's verify if Docker is actually able to pull hello world. Command world. Oh, we are on worker, right? Docker pull hello world. And yes, we are able to pull. Okay, so I just hope nobody does a vmotion on my VM in the meanwhile. But basically, yeah, that's a big problem. So you cannot connect to NTP through proxy, nor to cronid, at least not according to the internet articles that I've verified so far. And since it's a cluster, not all servers are synchronized in their time. That's, yeah, I managed to solve it by migrating the master node to a proper server, to a server that actually includes those parameters in a proper way. Okay, so it's going to be offline DW. Okay, and we'll use the master for downloads. So there's our WinSCP, fantastic. Go drop it here. And now we need to continue. So we go to our folder, we unzip the offline. We see the download images. What? Oh, CD offline. Download, and now we need to run the download images. So hopefully it would ask me for a password. Probably it wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't ask me for a password. So I need to provide a password in the command above. So the format is going to be, what was the format? Yes, okay, so it's -u. Okay, -u, that's my username. -p is the password. And here we have to use escape characters, otherwise it doesn't work. So it's gonna be, so I have characters like this or something, and I'll have to escape them like this. So we're gonna skip this part, so I don't want to expose my password, but trust me, that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm gonna press enter, and everything's going to be fine. Okay, so there we go. It's downloading. Apparently, if you use too much of a secure password that requires escape character, it doesn't work. So if you encounter no image, just change your password in Docker IO to something less secure, and it would work for you. Oh, nice. So let's just jump into the end of it. And there we are at the end of it. Now we're going to do upload images and go for it. Yeah. Username. Yep, that's the one that requires this special password and everything. Okay, and the username is registry admin, and the password is this one that we set earlier. And there it goes. It's uploading, so it's gonna take a while. So just let's jump to the part where it is done. And there we go. It's done. So let's see what's going on with our suite over here. I hope the session did not expire. Okay, number of images, 62 out of 62. Looks legit. Come on, a little bit faster. Okay, and now we are deploying. There it deploys some stuff for us. Very fun, and we are almost at the end of it. There we go, it's done. I'm gonna say complete. And now we are configuring. Okay, so we don't have OBM, right? And we're going to use certificates generated by ITOM platform because it doesn't really matter without OBM too much. There's practically no certificate exchange, and everything is based on the /opt/kubernetes/SSL folder. So the certificates are mostly exposed, except for the part with the COSO, which is which doesn't respond to the upload certificates option over here, if I remember correctly. So it means that we are not going to deal too much with the certification beyond the auto-generated ones. Now it says cannot get the next capability information. Okay, let's see why. Probably one of the pods was still not up. Okay, we go with internal Postgres for DVD. And now we are on COSO. So it's going to be dedicated Vertica installation. Vertica host name is going to be Vertica. Is it Vertica? Is it Vertica? CDF Vertica. Let's go. CDF Vertica. Okay. Yeah, so it's going to be CDF Vertica. .com. Database now is ITOM DB, if I remember correctly. No, TLS. Okay, and okay, read only. It's going to be COSOR RO, and the password should be something among those lines. Maybe I'm wrong. W, read write. and the same password because we are in a insecure environment, so we don't generally care. Let's see if we get a problem here. Enable. Okay. So let's change the password to this. And then this. Okay, so we know that it verifies, which is good. And there we have it. Is it vertical? Yeah, it should be. Yes. Use database time zone. If I say configure UTC, there we go. UTC is the best time zone, very generic. Okay. Configuring collection services, there it is, complete. We were not required to do anything. Digital experience monitoring doesn't require anything. Performance management is being configured. It's complete. And apply configuration. Yes, please apply. Okay. So there we have it. There it is. And now we can go to our master and we will install the CDF tools later, but it's going to be kubectl get pods all namespaces. Not like this. All namespaces. Go for it. Okay, and there it starts to spin up the OPSB namespace slowly but surely. Let's see if it expands. Yeah, it's going to be okay. This process can take several minutes. There we have more pods. So I guess the wizard should end up pretty soon. Okay, well, it seems that it's coming up pretty nicely. There is nothing eventful to wait for in the configuration wizard. So that concludes. Oh, that's can trigger suite development deployment. Configure could not be applied. Suite install, ops bridge, config, the core volume. So we're gonna see that, but I guess it's just it's not a real mistake. Yeah, it's just maybe a timeout or something. So we are done, and CDF platform is installed. Oh, I hope you liked it, and see you in the next one.